Question.
Hi there, Jerry Gagne. We're going to try something new this week, and it's going to be called Jerry's. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not used to being alone. They're pointing out I'm supposed to be looking at you at the camera. Anyways, it's going to be called 15 Minutes with Jerry. And all I'm going to do in those 15 minutes is share with you some products that I use on a regular basis. Maybe it'll be something new or older products that I can demonstrate and tell you why I like them, or maybe even why I don't like them. So this is unannounced. We might not have anybody watching because the normal show doesn't start for about 15 minutes. But yeah, I'm sure as time goes by, people will realize that I am on the air. Now, I can't take questions while this segment is going, but if you do have questions about anything that I mentioned to you or describe and it's not clear, well, just wait until the 4 o'clock hour. Can they send the Facebook?
Can post it.
Okay, you can post your question now, and then when the show starts, it'll be one of the questions we'll answer for you. One of the questions I get a lot, and I know we've discussed it before, but we'll start out with some medications. What should I have in my loft? Not the birds are sick or anything, but what should I have in my loft just in case? Because if you call us, even if you want to foot the expense of mailing something to you or shipping it to you overnight, it's very, very expensive. So these are things that I think you should have, even though your birds are healthy. So in talking about it, the first one I want to talk about is 3-in-1. Now, 3-in-1 is for canker, coccidiosis, and worms. Those are the three most common. And they're the only medication that I would advise, not 4-in-1, not 5-in-1, but 3-in-1, because there's no antibiotics in it. Canker, coccidiosis, and worms are protozoa, like a bug. So with no antibiotics, you don't have to worry about overdosing your birds with an antibiotic. So 3-in-1 is a powder, goes in the drinking water. 5 days, 5 continuous days. Now, I personally don't use this, but I will tell you that if your birds seem to be healthy, but you want to do a little bit of preventative maintenance before breeding season. So I suggest if you want to use it twice a year, before breeding season and when all your birds are weaned. Take care of the three most common, 3-in-1. And if you folks have listened to me in the past, you know I'm not a strong believer in medicating to keep birds healthy. I'll say it and say it again. I use the example that if you're going to medicate your birds, we're going to be talking about coccidiosis. What if they don't have coccidiosis? What if there's nothing absolutely wrong in your using a medicine? It makes no sense. It's like saying, well, I think I'll take some amoxicillin today because I have some for myself, and I think I'll take it so I don't get sick. Does that make any sense? I don't want to get sick next week or the week after, so I'll take medicine. You can't medicate your way to good health. You have to react. You have to seek information, whether it's sending droppings into us, or whether taking birds to a veterinarian, or calling us and telling us if something's going on with your birds. But if your birds are perfectly healthy, makes no sense at all. So what should you have just in case? 3-in-1 is a good one if you decide to use that. I personally like to use a medication that is for a specific reason, not something divided in three. So aviocox is for coccidiosis, goes in the drinking water, treatment's 3 days. All that information's on the bottle, and very easy to use. So coccidiosis is absolutely the most common disease that pigeons get. And also, it is also one of the biggest reasons that birds get sick again. So one of the hints when you're using this is use it, and then right after you've used it, let's say you use it in the morning, and what you want to do is scrape the floor. Or clean the floor as best you can, because the coccidiosis passes through the bird. They could pick it back up again and reinfect. So it's important. Now, so aviococcus is for coccidiosis. The next one I want to talk about is canker. Remember 3 in 1, canker, coccidiosis, worm. So aviozole is a great product. The problem with is the best way to put it. Aviozole is the ingredient is ronidazole. Ronidazole has been on the market for years and years. If I had to guess, 25 or more years. And over those many years, the use of ronidazole has created a situation where it's not as effective. We sell it in 10% and we sell it in 25%. My suggestion to you is go to 25%. It's 2.5 times stronger. It's a safe drug, won't hurt the young ones at all, but at 10%, you should at least double up the dosage. So if you have 10%, 2.5 times the normal dosage of 1 teaspoon. 25%, it's 1 teaspoon. A little bit more expensive, but it goes further. So this is for canker in pigeons, very, very effective. We have other products, and I would tell people, even with ronidazole or any drug, try to rotate. There's more than one drug for coccidiosis, canker, worms, so it's a good idea to rotate so they don't develop a resistance. So there's another one you should have in the market. 3 in 1 or in your loft, aviozole. This is levomethol. Levomethol, some people call it metronidazole, is a wormer, a very, very effective wormer. The reason I like it is it takes care of all pigeon worms, with one exception, and that's a tapeworm. A tapeworm is very, very rare, I've never in 68 years seen it, but I do know pigeons do get them occasionally. So another product you should have goes in the drinking water for worms, gets them all except the tapeworm. And keep in mind when you're worming, no matter what the wormer is, you have to do it twice. The first time it gets the adult worms. Second time, those adult worms have laid eggs inside the pigeon's body. So if you don't do it a second time, 10 to 12 days after the first time, 10 to 12 days, then you're going to have a reinfestation. The second time kills all the larvae or eggs that have hatched, and now you've cleared your birds. So there's another one you really should have. Okay, we did that one, we did that one, we did that one, and we did this one. Now, this is the only antibiotic that I suggest that you keep on hand. Sure, you can do others because there are other products that are more effective for maybe respiratory or something, but amoxicillin is a great one to have when I don't know what my problem is, or if I see a little bit of a problem that fluffed up, but at that point I don't know what's wrong. I start them on amoxicillin immediately. It's safe. Got young ones in the nest, doesn't matter. Teaspoon to a gallon. It's what's called a broad spectrum antibiotic, meaning it treats a lot of different bacterial infections and some respiratory issues and other bacterial infections. And being amoxicillin, we've talked about paratyphoid. You could use it for paratyphoid, but the product itself is so safe, you could actually use it for 3 or 4 weeks every day, and it wouldn't harm them at all. But the suggested is 6 to 7 days for almost everything. The other reason I think you should have this is you do have sick birds. You know you've got sick birds. What do? You call FOIs. We send it right out to you. Put them on this if you don't already have it. Well, you should already have it. And put them on this until the other product comes. But don't put them on it for 2 or 3 days and then the other product comes and stop. Put them on it for at least 5 straight days. And then what you're going to do is add a probiotic and then follow through with the medication that you used. I wanted to talk about the last product today, and that's Ultra Pro. Ultra Pro stands for Ultimate Vitamin and also a probiotic. It's what I use and have used for years and years now. I used to use Pigeon Builder, and I'm not knocking my product. Pigeon Builders is the largest vitamin supplement sold in the United States for pigeons. But Ultra Pro has the ultimate vitamin, which is a little bit more than Pigeon Builder, and it has a probiotic. So you're combining good vitamins and a good probiotic to rebuild gut bacteria. Because I was talking about amoxicillin being an antibiotic. So antibiotics don't know the difference between good and bad bacteria. The goal of an antibiotic is to kill all bacteria in a pigeon's intestines. Now, what do? Either good bacteria is going to come back or bad bacteria is going to come back. You want the good bacteria to be back. So probiotics does that in the drinking water. As they drink the water, the probiotic is consumed and it builds good bacteria. Good bacteria builds good health. So those are some of the products that I think you should have. Go back real quick. 3-in-1 if you want, but just use this twice a year. Talking about aviozole, once again, you should treat before breeding, but it's a canker medicine, and you need that. You never know which canker is going to show up. Then we're talking about the wormer, this metronidazole, or some people call it levamisole, kills all worms and pigeons, with one exception, which is the tapeworm. Very, very rare. As I said, in the 68 years I've had pigeons, I've never even seen a tapeworm, but they're there. Coccidiosis, the most common of all products, of all diseases. So this treats coccidiosis. You get the added benefit. It also treats bacterial infection. Coccidiosis, usually the droppings are very light green, almost a pale green, and sometimes you see a little bit of blood in them. You know you've got coccidiosis. And if you're not sure, send the droppings in. Under a microscope, we have a veterinarian look at these droppings. He can see coccidiosis almost immediately. If there's worms, he'll catch that too. So I'm kind of getting off base, but send your droppings in on a regular basis. If you do that, we might catch a problem before you even know you have a problem. So every month, every 3 months, whatever you decide to do, it's a good idea to find out. Instead of, we've got to use some medicine in case they get sick, send the droppings and we'll tell you whether you should use a medicine, and we'll tell you what. And last of all, of course, is the Ultra Pro Ultimate Vitamin Probiotic, produced by Foy's, only product like it in the world that I know of. I use it personally every day, and I get so many people that visit my lofts. I had people visiting yesterday, and I have people drove all the way from Chicago to the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, 7.5 hours, just to meet us, just to see our store, and just to see the pigeons. So it was very nice. It was a family. We certainly enjoyed having them, and they came to the store also, and they drove 7.5 hours. I have 2 people coming tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. We don't mind, but you can't show up because we're closed. Occasionally one of the girls will come in for a specific reason, or usually it's me. They want to buy feed, they want to see the store, they want to see my pigeons, so they're invited, but you must make an appointment. Well, that's our first 15-minute show, and I'm sure some of you missed part of the show because I just started it out of the blue. It was an idea we came up with last week. This will be a regular segment, so the show will start 15 minutes before our regular show starts, and then, like right now, I've got about 30 seconds, and Gina will join me, and we'll go right into our regular show. Got questions? Now's the time to send those questions in via Facebook, and we'll be glad to answer them. Hi, Gina Dawn.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I thought that went pretty good, didn't you?
Yes.
All right, want to move
You
this?
need a breather, huh?
Yeah.
Sure. Good afternoon. Hope everybody's having a fabulous Friday. Today is Boys on Facebook. Today we're going to talk about bands, year bands, marker bands, band holders, band boxes, pretty much anything you know about band that you want to know about banding your birds. If you have questions, just post them and we'll get to them. I know when we first sent the message out about today's show, we said we were going to have a special guest. Jerry originally wasn't going to be able to make it today, but He's here. So we don't have a special guest today. Sorry about that. We'll have a special
Tell him I
guest another
canceled an
time.
operation just so I could be
He
here.
did. He did. And he's special all on his own. Huh. So anyway, so it's Jerry and I today. All about bands, banding your birds. What else? There's no auction today because Jerry wasn't going to be here, so we don't have the auction.
But in talking about the auction, I'm really excited. Wanted to tell you, yesterday I got 4 pair of gorgeous American fantails, tail mark, black tail with a white body, just gorgeous, a chocolate one, donated by Earl Biederman, and Earl is a world-renowned fantail breeder. So in the future shows, we'll have those fantails, 1 pair for each show, and then another gentleman donated a pair of Serbian high flyers, which are once again from a top breeder, probably thought of as a top breeder of the flyers, high flyers in the world. Just some future shows.
Thanks. So yeah, no auction this week. We will have the auction in 2 weeks at our next show. So
Well, let me do this first, just to get it out of the way, okay?
yes.
I'm going to show you one of the little tools I use, one of the things I do when I band a bird. To me, this is just a gorgeous bird. This is a show tippler. The color is very unusual. It's bronze and it glows. The head is almost we call it a red tan. It's a gorgeous bird. In fact, we had them on the auction from a top show breeder, but we didn't sell the pair. I have 2 of them, hen and the cock, and they're mated. So what I wanted to show you is what I do when I band a bird. Now this bird is banded on 1 leg, so I'm going to use a big band to show you how I do it. If you're going to band, maybe I could mention the WD-40.
Go ahead.
Okay. What I do is sometimes the bird is getting a little old and the leg is growing so fast I almost missed it, and it's very difficult to get the band on, but it's just so important that you band your birds. So what I do when it's tight, and I put you put your 3 toes here, slide the band over, and then it's going over the back toe, which comes all the way back. And I'll put the band on, and then if I can't get it on, it's just too tight, take a can of WD-40. WD-40 should be in your loft, absolutely, because it's going to come up. You don't want to run to the store to get WD-40. It's handy to have around anyways, but it makes it slippery. So I spray the whole leg, and I spray the inside with WD-40. Then I squeeze these 3 toes and put it on this way. Now understand this is an oversized band. Then I pull, and right here, it's not going to get caught on this one because it's a big band. Right here at the knuckle, just before the back toe, is where you get stuck. And then you push and push, and you get it over the knuckle, and now you can't get it over the toe. You push and push, and it happens, believe me. So what I do is, don't know whether you can see at that point, just before here is where I get stuck. So what I do is I always have a pencil with a dull point. And I hope you can see this, but what I actually do is I'll push the band on to that point, and there's a little gap right here. I push the pencil in and pull the toe through. If you don't have something like this, you're going to try to use your fingernails, and it's hard to do. So that's just a hint on how to band a bird that's really tough. You have to have the D40, and if it's a little old, it makes it much easier. I will mention Veronica is putting this pair up on our website for next week. If you have any interest at all, this is a mated pair of bronze show tipplers. This is the cockbird, and it's a 2018 bird, last year's bird. I'm pretty sure that these came from Rios. It'll come to. But anyway,
Chris.
Reyes.
Yeah.
He donated it to us. If you're interested, I'm going to let the pair go. Gorgeous pair, $75. You don't have to get on Facebook to buy this pair. I'd like to sell them to somebody who really likes them. I'm tempted to keep them myself. But $75, call Foy's, ask for Gina after the show. and she'll get your information. You can use your credit card if you're interested in this pair of birds. Okay, Gina?
Okay, so we're gonna start with the year bands. The year bands, what Jerry was just talking about is what you band your babies with. They come in sizes from 6.5 to size 14.
Yeah, 6.5 is for dogs.
Right. And
They're seamless. They have the
he always
year on
throws
them.
me off.
I
So
know.
anyways,
I'll shut up.
the year bands. So they come in from size 6.5 to size 14, depending on what type of bird you have. If you have a bird with a band on, a seamless year band, it's going to say the size on it. So when you call us, if you're unsure, try to look at the bird first to see what size band the bird takes. It's also good to know the size if you want a marker band, because those come in different sizes as well.
What's a marker band?
I'll get to that.
I'm leaving.
You're not.
I'm causing nothing but trouble.
I'll get to the marker bands
All
after
right,
I'm done talking
so hard
about
to
the
be
year
quiet.
bands. I know. Don't y'all miss having him on the show with me? So anyways, this one is a size 7. So the year bands, we have 4 different types. We have the AU, IF, NPA, and IPBs. Go ahead.
American Racing Pigeon Union, AU. IF is the International Federation. And both those, AU and IF, are for racing homers only, size 8. The National Pigeon Association is the best-selling pigeon band in the United States. Comes in, like she said, all the sizes. And we also, there are people who like the independent idea, so we sell IPB, which stands for Independent Pigeon Breeder. No particular affiliation.
What are the NPA bands for?
Pigeons.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
You mean what sizes?
No, you said AU and IF is for racing.
Oh, National Pigeon Association, NPA, and they come in sizes 6.5 to 14.
Showing
Try to behave myself.
Showing your birds?
Oh, why don't you tell them that? I'm embarrassed now.
For showing your birds. So anyways, the NPA went to the metal bands this year instead of the plexiglass coated. All the other ones are plexiglass coated, which I have some here.
Mentioned with the NPA band, if you plan on showing at a Grand National, or I believe now NPA affiliated show, you must have an NPA band, AU, IF, in order to show.
Yes. So NPAs are metal, IPBs, IFs, and AUs are plexiglass coated. The color is different on each band every year. So all NPA bands are the same color, AUs the same, but each band changes the color every year. So this is the colors for the year: black, yellow, blue, or orange. Next year they'll all be different.
Last year was orange, wasn't it? I think it was.
I don't remember. So if you don't show or you don't race, you just have pigeons, you like to watch them fly or listen to them, whatever the case, doesn't matter which band you get. You can band them with any band as long as it's the right size. Go ahead.
May I mention
You
that
may.
there's a big advantage to banding? Even if you're not going to show, you're not going to race, if you lose that bird,
They can call us and we can track the bird back to you. Every year band that we sell is registered. So whatever group of numbers that you order, how many group of bands, your name and phone number will be recorded. So if you want to always make sure you give us your most up-to-date phone number, that way if you lose a bird, it can be tracked right back to you. We get calls every day, all day long for people who find pigeons, and it has our year bands on it. So go ahead.
I say, should we take maybe a question and first?
Sure, when I'm done.
Okay. I remember when she was scared and her eyes was big as an owl's when she did the first show. All of a sudden, just back off, Jerry. Just.
As you can see, he has a hard time being quiet.
Yeah.
So what's the phrase you always use? I'll be quiet while you interrupt. Okay, so we're going to go. That's it about year bands. If you have any questions, you can write us in and we'll answer it. So anyways, Jody asks, what's the shelf life of most of the powders? Well, most of them, Jody, are 1 to 2 years. If it's a product we just got in, it's going to be 2 years. So it depends. Most of them are pretty popular and go fast. So
I looked at every one of these. That's what I was looking at, and they're all 2020.
So next year sometime. Yeah.
And I would also mention, if you
Go ahead.
allow me, don't pay any attention to the expiration date. It isn't like they expire 2020 and on December 31st of 2020 they're no good anymore. I have consistently used products that are a year over their expiration date. I do that on advice and suggestion of a world-renowned pigeon veterinarian who tells me that don't worry about it, Jerry. They're fine. As long as you keep them dry and dark, they're fine. And a lot of the products will even change color a little bit. Doesn't matter. I still use them. In fact, some of you folks, we get every once in a while. We do have products that expire. I take them home, use them myself.
Great. Next question. Kim asks, will you be in Fremont for the Pigeon Show in April? No, Kim, we won't. We go to Fremont in January and September. Russ, should you warm your birds on a full moon day?
I understand what he's asking. It's much like I love to fish, and the old folks, what do they call that? Anyway, used to say the best day to go fishing is when the full moon is out. But I can tell you, folks, I've fished 30 days in a row, and I've got every moon there was, and the full moon meant nothing. Some days were good, and some days were bad. So that's my feeling. You want to worm your birds when it's convenient for you, it fits into your schedule, because if you're putting your birds together and you have to wait for a full moon, it doesn't make any sense at all. So I say worm them when it's convenient for you. And read the labels very carefully on wormers, because some of the wormers do cause a bird to vomit. So read the instructions, and in those particular wormers, you don't want to feed them the night before you worm them.
Right. Or even a couple hours after you worm them.
I'm sorry?
Even a couple hours after you worm them.
Absolutely.
From James, Jerry, I lost 30 out of 40 birds this winter. I started giving them Nutri-Drops and it did stop the losses. How long should I use it?
It's an all-natural product. No reason why you can't use it for as long as you choose. But I would, if it were me, I would think I'd go 2 weeks after the last bird died. Give it a few days, and then if everything seems fine, 2 weeks won't hurt them a bit. I talked to Gromus the other day, and he had a lot of good luck with it too. He's helped some other people. He medicates, and then he uses Nutri-Drops. It seems to have worked out real well. And I suppose, to me, I should have thought of it, I'd have a bottle of Nutri-Drops. If you get hit with that virus, the sooner you go after it, the quicker you're going to resolve the issue.
Right. Okay, another question from Belinda. When looking at healthy pigeon poop, why is it good to have some feathers in it?
Well, just happen to have a feather here. Because the consistency of the droppings should be moist, not loose, not real wet, moist, and fairly solid. And that means that the down feathers, little white feathers underneath the bird's body, the little feathers are going to stick to that sticky, moist consistency of the of the droppings, and that tells you got a healthy pigeon.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so before I talk about any more bands, I'm going to talk about the band boxes. We have two sizes. We have a small and a large. We sell them with the box by itself, or we sell them full of bands, depending on what size you want. The different sizes and types are in our catalog, but you can take these out. How do I take it out? You can take the dividers out and make each little section however big or small that you want it. It is easy to take them out and put them in, but so we have the small and the large, and this is good if you have different type of marker bands and year bands if you want to put them in this.
Yep.
Do you have anything to say about
Well,
this?
I was just going to say, I use this, no matter which size, but I use the big one. And what I do is I put all the different colored marker bands, because I use them for different reasons. I have a pocket with pink, and when I want to band a hen, I know I'm always watching my birds so I can pick out hens and cocks. As soon as I know it's a hen, I catch her, put a pink band on it, and then I put a blue band on all of the cock birds. Now I know which ones are hens and cocks, but I don't know which ones are pairs. So we have a large assortment of colors. So let's say hen, cock. Now I put a green band here. I put the green band with the on the pink, and I put the green band on the blue. I have a hen and a cock. If I see two green bands, that's a mated pair. It's important. I'm looking, and I should be looking at the camera. It's important because I sell a lot of birds, and I want to know which are pairs. So I might have green, yellow, orange, violet, black, white, all of that. Now you say, well, what if you have 12 colors and I have 24 pair? What I do, pink, blue, green, and you want to buy the narrow ones, and then I have an orange. So I might have green and orange on another pair. So you can figure it out, but I wouldn't be without that.
Okay, so we also have the band holder. So we did talk about this when we first got them a couple weeks ago. It's 4 different, you can put 4 different rows of bands on it. They just slide right on and lock into place. Oops. So from size 7 all the way up to size 14 fits on here. And I forget how many bands fits, but it's quite a bit. So you can put them all on here, and then you can nail this to the wall. It'll just be up there when you need to take a band off. Just unclick it and slide one off. Comments?
May I have that catalog while you're talking? I want to check something.
And this band holder is not in the catalog because it's really new. It will be in the new catalog, but you can find it on our website or give us a call if you want to order it or have any questions about it. Right. Okay, so Jerry was mentioning the marker bands. So we have a couple different types of marker bands. We have numbered, we have unnumbered, we have sizes from 7 all the way up to, I think, 18. So the numbered bands, they come in numbered, size 7 and 8 come from 1 through 48. Size 10 and larger come 1 through 100. And those come in a variety of colors as well. So these are the easy lock bands. So all they do is you just snap them around the leg and lock it together. So we have the numbered. Do you have them up on the screen? So Veronica has them up on a screen for you to see, but you have numbered and unnumbered. And like Jerry said, everybody marks their birds different ways, different reasons. Somebody may have a pink number 1 and a blue number 1. So the number 1 represents the mate. Pink is female, blue is male. You have a pink one, a blue one, that's a pair.
Well, I forgot that. They go all the way up to like 50, don't they?
48.
48, so you can do 48 pages.
Yeah. And then you may mark like the parents and the babies, then you may mark all that, the whole family in orange. It just depends. Everybody does it different for whatever works for them. Right?
Yep.
What else? And these can go off and on, so they're not hard to get put on or take off. So
I might mention, Gina, that these are lock rings. They're a little different than what we used to sell. When you push them together, they actually lock in. You can't get them off, and they won't fall off. The only way to get them off is a little place right here. You push with a pen, you push down, and it unlocks it. So they're much better than the marker bands we used to have, because once they're locked on, they're not coming off unless you want to take them off.
right. Now the easy lock bands and the numbered and unnumbered are 8mm, and then the narrow bands are 5mm. So they're
High.
High, yeah. So the narrow you can get more on, or you can use a regular one and a narrow for whatever reason you're marking your birds for, right? And then we have the elastic rings. They are they're seamless as well. This is the tool that you use. Do you have it on the screen, Veronica? And then I'm just using a dowel to represent the pigeon's leg. So you would put the pigeon's leg in here and then slide the bands. Now the kit comes with an assortment of colors, but there are containers of one color that you can buy. They don't come in an assortment other than the kit. So you slide this up over the tool, and then you slide it right on the bird's leg, and it'll stay there.
And they come in different sizes, don't they?
They do come in different sizes, different colors. They are not numbered. As you can see, they're small, so you can't have a number on it.
It's important to use as correct a size as possible, because if you use a small, let's say you use a 7 on a bird that takes a 9, there's a possibility it's going to be too tight. So be sure that you use the proper size.
We had a chicken one time, and it started limping, and we realized there was a band on it when we got it, and it was way too tight, like it was grown over the leg. We had to get it and cut it off.
Yeah, it would have killed the bird.
Yeah, so we got it off, and whew, that was horrible. We have another question from Tiffany. We give vinegar in the water. We just bought Ultra Pro. Do we not add vinegar when using the Ultra Pro?
I want to be sure you're talking about apple cider vinegar with what we call the mother, all natural. The white vinegar and the other vinegars are doing more harm. Now, number one, what's the reason for apple cider vinegar? It creates an acidic environment in the drinking water. And the acidic condition of the water helps to fight bacteria. Bacteria do not do well in acidified water. So number one has to be apple cider vinegar. You can buy it at your local health food store. We sell it, but the best one, and I've known about Bragg's apple cider vinegar for over 25 years. Great product. BRAGG. Nothing better on the market. And because Bragg's apple cider became so popular in today's world with humans taking it also, there's been a lot of imitators, just like anything else. But Bragg's is the best. So the question, getting back to the question, the answer is yes. You may add apple cider vinegar with vitamins, supplements, and probiotics. Not a problem. And you follow the same directions. You don't cut back. If it says a teaspoon, it's a teaspoon.
I was going to mention something about for the year bands. as I was saying, if you don't fly or race or show your pigeons, you can use any band. All the year bands are the same price, so the price doesn't matter. They're all the same.
But we have increments, right? You have to buy 10 or something.
Yeah, certain ones you have to buy a minimum of 10, and then other ones are a minimum of 20. And they are in multiples of 10s or 20s. You can't get them in 5s. So.
Do you mind if I?
Go ahead.
Okay. Going back to the auction, we're not having the auction today. I wasn't expected to be here, but I worked it out. I am here, as you can see. But I wanted to mention, we've got some gorgeous pigeons going to be on our next auction. 4 pair of American fantails, and then we're going to have some Serbian high flyers and some other birds. But one of the things that I think I neglect to do is tell you why we have these auctions. We're not raising money for foys. We actually lose a little bit of money on every sale, but that's not important. We raise money to help the future of our hobby. And we wrote our first check this year, because when you donate a pair of birds, that money is all invested in conservative mutual funds or stocks, never ever spent. So it took us a long time to get enough money in our accounts so that the dividends and interest were substantial enough so that we could write a check. And so we will be writing a check every year henceforth. Those checks will grow, and they're to support the hobby. If it's a youngster wanting to get help, question, need something, birds. If it's an individual who might have a problem with neighbors or zoning, we might be able to help you there. A club needs help for whatever reason. Anything we can do to help sponsor the future of this great hobby is where the money goes. Once you reach $100 in contributions, that $100 qualifies you to be part of the National Pigeon Association Honor Roll, and your name will be listed forever, twice a year in the NPA quarterly magazine. The only other thing I want to mention about this is, if you have good quality birds, won't you consider sending us a pair or 2 pair, whatever, but good quality hen and cock. And if you do that, I just appreciate it. I have pigeons coming in from all over the United States, but I never have enough. I was down to 3 or 4 pair before I got the birds in from Earl and from Gromus the other day. So if you can see it in your heart, doesn't matter what breed it is, as long as they're healthy and quality. We can't, if I get them and I don't think they should be sold, I won't sell them.
And banded.
And banded, yes, thank you. And if you have the pedigree, that's great, but it's not required.
Another question from Scott Key. I have a newborn pigeon establishing a home by coming out into the aviary, or does it have to come out and fly around?
Do you understand? Well, let's just start from the beginning. Of course, a newborn is not going anywhere until it's old enough to fly. And we call that period the weaning period. And the easiest way for you to make that decision, because I do get a lot of questions about when do I wean my birds? When can I take them away from their parents and put them in another section? Turn the bird upside down. In fact, I'll show you. Oh, shush. This is an adult bird, but what I do is I look under the wing. If I can't see any skin, it'll be right in here. But if it's all feathered in, it's old enough to be weaned. It'll eat and drink. The only other, I do caution you when I say eat and drink. If you see a young bird in a loft or a floor and it's blinking, that means it hasn't found the water yet. So what you want to do, take the bird, stick its beak in the water, you'll never have another problem. So now, I told you when to wean them. Now they're able to go outside. They're going to go outside into your aviary, most cases because they're following other birds. The adults will be outside, or they're going outside sort of exploratory, but once they're out 2 or 3 times, they love being outside in the sun, and they'll come back in by themselves. Now, if you use a trap, what you have to do is initially, unless they're able to follow some other older birds, the young birds don't even, you open a trap and they don't even know they can go out. So what I do for the first 3 or 4 days is I catch them, I open the trap. If there's 1 or 5 birds, doesn't matter. I put them all outside, and then I feed them, and they eventually figure it out. Then after 2 or 3 days, I drop the bobs, put them outside. They've already come through that opening, and they see the bobs, and they'll follow others and work their way back in. So as far as the question is, they just love to go out and fly a little bit, move around a little bit, and get the good weather. Especially a baby, in no way in heck is it thinking about establishing a home yet. It's a baby, like a child. I do good?
Good job. You always do good.
Oh, sometimes better than others. So. Should I tell my Alicia Keys joke? No. Okay.
Not,
no,
yes.
not joke.
It's not a joke. It's. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Vicki and I, my wife and I, were on a cruise last week, and if you've ever cruised, there are days at sea. And one of the days at sea, I was standing in the evening listening to a piano player. He had a crazy hat. One of those guys, bing, 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 and they can play everything and anything, and beginning a song, and he sings and does tricks. So anyways, I'm watching him, and he says, "Sir, you over there," and it was me. I was standing near the rail. He says, "You are our official greeter." He says, "Everybody that comes up those steps," I was leaning on the railing, "you have to hug." And I said, "Male and female?" He said, "Yeah, you got to hug everybody." So I hugged everybody. So then afterwards, he's playing. He says, "We're going to have a guest later, a celebrity guest." He says, "But let's get up on the dance floor." And nobody would dance, and Jerry's a little bit nuts. So Jerry sees this cute girl across on another railing, little short girl, black girl, pretty as heck. That attracted me. Behind her was this big burly man. So I had a drink in my hand. I walked over to the girl. I says, and I didn't say anything first. The big guy was there, and I handed the big guy my drink. And I took the drink out of her hand and put it in his hand. So now he's holding 2 drinks. And I said, "Ma'am, may I dance with you?" And she said, "Okay." So we're out on the dance floor for 2 or 3 minutes. And the big burly guy comes out on the dance floor and he goes, "Sir, that's enough." So I give him my drink, and I give her my drink, and I go back to my greeting people. And he says then he says, "And now we're going to introduce our celebrity singer. She's going to come up here and sing a couple of songs with us." And the guy says, "Alicia, is it Alicia? Alicia, whatever, it's Keys. Would you please come up?" So I was dancing with that girl. That was her, Alicia Keys. And being my age, I don't know who the heck Alicia Keys is. And I go back to my room after, and I say, "Hey, Vic, who the heck is Alicia Keys?" She said, "Oh my God." She said, "World famous singer. She's great, beautiful." Well, I was just dancing with her. So I thought that was a funny story.
And she was kind of upset that she wasn't there to see her. So
yeah.
As he was telling me the story, I'm like, "Did you get a picture with her?" He's like, "No." I must have said it like 3 times. "You get a picture?" He's like, "Gina, I didn't know who she was."
I still don't know who she other than singer.
I'm like, "Alicia Keys? Jeez." So he danced with Alicia Keys. Not many people can say that.
Yeah, she was up evidently in a penthouse and just came down to get out, and then only saw her once or twice after, but never with anybody. All right.
But her bodyguard.
Yeah.
The big burly guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to another question. Kevin asks, "What's a one-loft racer strategy for new racers?"
Kevin, I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Would you?
Strategy?
Pardon? I know what a one-loft race is, but I don't understand the strategy unless you are the one sponsoring the one-loft race, because the way a one-loft race works is if I want to be in that race, I send my birds to the sponsor of the race, and I never see it again. in most cases. So I can't have any strategy because I have no control. So I'm wondering whether he is a sponsor of race. So get back to us and I'll answer it, or you can always call us here.
Joshua asked, I am trying to identify the parents of 2 new eggs. I am confident that I know the hen. I find her every morning on the eggs, but it's the male I am not sure of. So my question is, would a male pigeon ever allow another male pigeon to sit on his eggs during the day? Or would he ever allow a different female to sit on them? I have 7 birds in the loft and I think only 2 hens.
The answer, generally speaking, although that last line sent up some red flags, just know this: the hen sits on the eggs from right around 5 o'clock until about 10 o'clock the next morning. So if you go in 6 or 7 o'clock at night, that's the hen. Absolutely, that's the hen. Then if you go in around noontime the next day, that's the cock. So that's your mated pair. Mark them or write on the nest box on a piece of paper the band number so you know which one of the pair. Put a blue on the cock and a pink on the hen. But if you have 5 cocks to 2 hens, it's a recipe for disaster, because those cocks are going to want to chase the hens. Different cocks are going to be chasing them all over the place. One of the cocks might fly into the nest box and get into a fight with the true parent and knock the eggs out or kill the young just by trampling on them. So if it's at all possible, segregate them. Pick out your pairs, and if you get the wrong pair, it isn't going to make any difference at that point. Get 3 cocks out of there, 2 hens and 2 cocks. That's all you should have, or you're just going to have problem after problem, fight after fight, because those cocks want a hen.
Interesting. Just like a man.
I just love talking pigeons.
I know you do. I had a customer had called yesterday, and he had talked to Jerry earlier, and then he called back to order some product, and he was just saying how pleasant it was to talk to Jerry and how nice Jerry was, and
Oh, stop it.
just answered all of his questions and didn't hesitate to talk to him as long as he needed to, and gave him his home phone number. And just that you don't see that very often these days, that people are so passionate about something that they share everything that they know about the subject. And that's how Jerry is, if you guys know him.
And one of the things I get a lot was, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I say to him, no, 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 you're a customer. I mean, that's what people, and we especially, are supposed to do. We're not supposed to cut you off or not answer your questions. And if you think about it, it's good business sense. If we can answer your questions, and sometimes we send you on to somebody else, but it's good business, good customer relation. And our team here are all basically the same. And I think it's rubbed off over the years. But the other thing that's rubbed off is their knowledge. So many people test us. They'll call Gina or Kim or Sherry, the knowledgeable people, and ask them the question, and the girls will answer the question, and then they'll call me at home to see if I have the same answer. And you can bet we do, because we've all been around it. Gina, how long have you been with us?
10 years.
10?
10.
And Kim has been with us 13, 14, no,
The
Kim's
whole
been
time.
with us since
20.
we started, over 20 years ago. So they know their stuff.
And we kind of pride ourselves on customer service and helping the customer as much as we can, and answering all their questions. So,
There's another one.
a comment from Tiffany. I want to thank Jerry for answering my daughter Carrie Ann Packard emails and helping her with the birds.
Well, we're having sometimes I get emotional about this. We've got such a great business, and to be able to work with your own family, and then the employees we do have become family too. But it's so gratifying, and we really believe that that's why our business is growing in a time where the hobby is not growing. We're growing, and I think it's a consistency. we want to do what's best for you. And if it's good for you, it eventually becomes good for us.
Yep, absolutely. And we do have a new employee.
Oh, that's right.
So when we do let the other, or when the other employees do come on the show, you'll get to meet her as well. And she'll be doing shows with us this year as well.
And what's unique about her? Well, not unique. She's our granddaughter.
Your granddaughter, my niece.
Okay, my granddaughter. So now I have my wife, 2 daughters, and 2 granddaughters, all working for us. And that, if you've watched our catalog over the years, you can see the pictures of some of those folks. My 2 daughters are getting younger, and the grandchildren appear to be getting older, but you can see the change from year to year. In talking about the catalog, and if you have a question, please send it in to us. We officially started working on the new catalog in March, beginning of March, although we've been collecting information since the last catalog, correcting mistakes and things like that. It will take us about, I'm guessing, November, December, hopefully before that. I always say that, but it always takes longer. But we're adding new items, changing descriptions, correcting mistakes. If there's a product that we don't stock, or and you want it, contact Gina. Tell her. If you have the contact information, we'll do our very best. We'll discuss it. We don't add a new product without a discussion, but we do take a lot of ideas from you folks, and a lot of products you see are from folks like you. We just brought a brand new product in. We have had it custom made for us. We, with Ron Simpson's permission from Ohio, we took some pictures when we were at his lofts, and it's taken us, how long? Over a year
Yeah.
to bring it to market. But it's something unique. It's a feeder drinker stand, a feeder heater stand. I won't go into it, but it's on our website now, isn't it? Okay, so if you're interested,
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good item to have.
Yep.
I want to talk a little bit about, because are you done with band?
Go ahead.
Are you done with
No,
band?
we got one more.
Go ahead,
but
go ahead, do it. I'm just trying to fill in because I thought you were done with band.
No. So the last one is, it's for cage birds. They
Right, we just lost, well, you explain, I'm technically challenged.
I guess we lost you for a minute. I don't know, but we're back.
Facebook link dropped. Oh, it doesn't matter. But we're
I
back.
don't even know where we were.
We're just finishing off those
Oh, the
cage bird bands.
cage bird bands. Yeah. So we do have cage bird bands if you have cage birds.
And we have other cage bird products.
Yes,
You know,
we
we have
do.
drinkers and feeders for cage birds, small birds, and things like that. And we also, a lot of you don't have our catalog or haven't checked it out. We also sell poultry supplies, a lot of different chicken products. So we cover, if it's feathered, we have it covered one way or another. One of the things I mentioned, Gina, when we were talking about things I think you should have, I mentioned a pencil and so forth. I think you should have an empty dropper bottle. Now, we sell them, little brown bottles with the dropper. The reason for that is you're going to have sick birds. You can put it in the drinking water, but sometimes the birds don't want to drink. So how do you do it? So I would suggest you have a dropper bottle, and depending on what medication, you put it in the bottle itself, and then give the bird the drops 2 or 3 times a day. And you know the bird is getting medication because you're putting it directly into it. And the dropper system, it actually goes into the bloodstream even quicker. Also, unless there's something you wanted to mention.
I forget something, but I can't remember. So
Just
go ahead.
welcome to the club. I get a lot of questions, and because the weather now is warming up, about should your bird have a bath on a regular basis. Talked to somebody yesterday, a very unusual situation. They visited us from Chicago, but they actually give their birds a bath, I think in the sink, and just lathering the soap and so forth, cleaning up the bird. They keep their birds in an apartment. But generally speaking, the birds love to take a bath. Just love it. And you could actually do it if the weather's 25, 30, 35, cold doesn't bother them. They just love it. And you'll enjoy it too when you see a bird take a bath. It's like you've seen wild birds in a puddle. They're shaking all over and getting wet. So yes, they love baths. Do they need a bath? No, absolutely not. So for the joy and comfort of your own birds, sure, give them the opportunity. We sell bath pans, but you could go to auto supply store and they sell those rubber pans that you use to drain your oil. Something like that is fine too. We have them in 3 or 4 different sizes and so forth. But I urge you, if you're going to give your birds a bath, to include bath salts. Now, bath salts is not like salt and pepper. That's just what they call it, bath salts. And you put it in the water. You don't want your bath water too deep, 3 inches maybe, something like that. And you put it in the bath water, not a science, a handful, whatever you decide you want to do. And it's perfectly safe if the birds drink the water. So don't be concerned about that. So do they like to take a bath? Absolutely. Do they have to get baths? No.
When should they bath them with the bath salts?
I'd like to do it on a nice day. Is that what you mean?
Nope. If they have...
Oh, bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. You can say bugs. It's all right.
I was trying to get it out of you.
You're getting all itchy just thinking about it, huh? If you open up your bird's wings or spread their tail and you see little tiny things, whether they're round or sometimes they're longer than they are wide, feather lice or mites, that's a great time to do it. But if you bathe them on a regular basis, once a week, twice a month, you won't have that issue. But some of the bath salts aren't strong enough to get everything. They're a great aid, but you can't get everything. What I do is I do give my birds a bath with bath salts, but if I see an infestation or if I want to be sure, we sell a product called Permectin 2. You put about, I think it's an ounce to 2 gallons. It's in our catalog and on the product. So you add the Permectin to the water. What I use is a 5-gallon bucket. I put 3 gallons in, and then I put the proper amount of permectin in it, stir it up, and it looks like milk. Now, I use my bare hands. That doesn't make me right. Most people would suggest rubber gloves. And you put the bird in the water, and while it's in the water, I open one wing, then I open the other wing so that it's wet underneath. I spread the tail so that the tail gets completely wet. And then while my hands are in the water, with my thumb, I rub liquid, the permectin mixture, on the top of their head because bugs they'll run to the top to get away from the permectin. So I got them and I dip them all the way up to their beak. I don't put their beak underwater. And when they come out, I guess the best term is a wet dog, a wet rat, whatever. They look like a sorry pigeon. But when they dry, those feathers are going to be bright and clean, and they're going to be bug free.
Right. So, if you guys have anything you want us to show on a future show, any of our products, whether it be perches, baskets, nest boxes, medicines, vitamins, anything you want, all you have to do is send us a message on our Facebook show. Too late.
No, it's not.
And we'll definitely do that for our next show. We like to show you guys what you want to see and what you ask about.
Yeah, Veronica was mentioning before the show, last show we had 2 weeks ago, we had more questions on that particular show than all the shows we've done, and we're in our second year. And we think it was because we dealt with the issue, so you want to get into pigeons, or I'm coming back to pigeons. And we covered all the little nuances of getting birds and what to do first, what to do. And we had so many questions, we actually could not get to our topic because we had so many questions. So Veronica suggested that we try that again and maybe take a little bit more time to cover the area of keeping pigeons. And if I don't forget, I want to talk about someday about keeping pigeons in the house. A lot of people do it in apartments and houses. And the folks that were here yesterday, keep their birds in an apartment. Bird flies all over the place. At night, it goes into the girl's bedroom. Or during the day, they open the window, the bird flies out, comes back to the house. And the natural question, boop, boop, bitty, boop, boop, right? They only have 2 birds. They wear diapers. You can get online and buy pigeon diapers and put it on the bird so there's no poop problem. Or you can also buy the diaper, and she uses can I say ladies' feminine product?
If you'd like.
Ladies' feminine product, and she lines it, which makes it more absorbent. So we'll talk about that at some point. I think it's very interesting. And my wife cringes when I tell her. I lived in a house in Maine that had a 3rd floor attic. The attic was full of pigeons. I kept my birds up there.
Wow.
A lady would like to see floor covering. I'm sorry to say, we're going to make a note.
I did.
And we'll show it to you on the next week's show. I use the floor covering religiously. Every one of I have 13 sections. Every one of them has the floor covering down. It's about 3 inches thick. And I just like it because all of my perches are on the same wall. You've heard me say this before. All the droppings go down to the floor about a foot out from the wall. So an 8x8 loft section. I go in with the pitchfork that we sell in our magazine, probably buy one locally, and pick up all the droppings, put them into a cardboard box. I have a gentleman who comes religiously pick up all the droppings because he says he's never found anything better to grow asparagus, pigeon droppings. And I put them in a box, and then I rake the floor so that it's all level again. And I clean my loft. People don't believe this, but I don't have to clean my loft but twice a year. When I say clean, I pick up all of the floor covering. It's granulated clay is what it is, with a coccidiosis preventative in it. So I just rake it, and like I say, every 6 months I get a shovel, throw it all away, throw it in the garden, and put a new layer down. I can clean an 8-foot by 8-foot section, including the perches, in 5 minutes.
Nice. But you clean up the poop every how often?
What if I didn't have the floor covering down, or I clean it?
No,
I do it. What I do this time of the year takes me a little bit longer because my birds are all breeding, and I have in nest boxes, so I have to clean the nest boxes more time, and the nest bolts, that takes a little bit more time. Well, I try to do it a week to 10 days, especially during breeding season. And when those babies get a little bit bigger, those droppings really pile up. I clean the nest boxes this time of the year too.
I just wanted them to know that you don't wait every 6 months to clean your
No,
loft.
thank you. Sometimes my mouth gets out there and I don't know what I said, or I said something wrong. That's why I have you here.
Right.
Well, we've got 4 more minutes. If you have a question, as you still have time. If you have any birds you'd like to donate for our auction, boy, we sure would like to get them. You love the hobby. Help us, help others continue in the hobby. Yesterday, we had greatest family here from Chicago. A man and his wife drove all the way from Chicago, 7.5 hours, because her daughter, one time a bird flew in and they caught it, made a pet out of it, and the girl loves pigeons. She's going to be a lifelong pigeon breeder. She's 12 years old, and I knew right away she knew what she was talking about. There's a blue check, there's a blue bar, there's a white flight. She really, really.
And she told me today she wants to do a pigeon rescue.
Pigeon rescue? Okay, well, that would be great.
Yep. I said maybe you can become a pigeon vet because not a lot of vets know about pigeons.
Mm-hmm.
So.
An avian vet. There are a lot of avian vets, but they don't know pigeons.
Right.
So it would be nice to have an avian vet who did know pigeons. We're fortunate. We have 3 different veterinarians who we consult with, and believe it or not, occasionally they consult with us, and they know pigeons. For instance, when you send those droppings into us for an analysis, Paul, the veterinarian, is a pigeon man. He will look at the droppings under a microscope, but he knows what he's talking because he's also a pigeon guy. And many times he'll call you directly to discuss the issues with you and tell you what to medicate with. So we'd like to think that we're a well-rounded supply company. As we said at the beginning of the show, we're always looking for new ideas, new products, new things, and a lot of that stuff comes from you. So if you have an idea, or why don't we also mention, because it's early, we're going to be taking advertisements in our catalog. If you have pigeons or products, as long as they're not directly competitive to us, we'd be more than happy to sell you space in our catalog, anywhere from I think a quarter page to a full page. It's less expensive than any of the periodicals that are sent out, and when you have a magazine like ours, when you get it, you don't throw it away until you get the next one. And a lot of people don't throw the next one away either, or the oldest one. So they're looking at your ad on a regular basis. So if you have pigeons and you'd like to sell, whether it's a homer, a roller, various breeds, you're more than welcome to contact Veronica and call Foy's and ask for Veronica, and she'll explain it. And she also will talk about placement, front page, back page, center page, things like that. Also, we'll take that question real quick. Veronica builds websites for pigeon people, and does it right, because what other website person are you going to hire that knows pigeons? There aren't any. She knows pigeons. She builds our catalog. When I say knows pigeons, she knows how to photograph them or build a site for you. So if you have some interest there, contact Veronica. We have a question?
No, just a comment. Barbara, Eddie, and Kira.
Yep.
She said, thank you for letting me visit yesterday.
Oh, that was a great visit. As you know, I enjoyed it as much as you did. I'm sorry I had to cut it short. In fact, I was going to go to lunch, and I remembered I had a doctor's appointment.
Yeah. So if you guys have any show ideas, just let us know. We'll be more than happy to talk about or show whatever you would like. And Tiffany will show the floor covering on the next show in 2 weeks, which will be April 19th, the next show. And for those of you that like the Versalaga floor covering, we will be getting our Versalaga container. Probably by the end of next week we should have it. So if you want Versalaga feed, it'll be here next week,
Mhm.
along with all the other Versalaga products that we're out of. So we'll have that all next week for you.
And remember, next week we'll be on 15 minutes early, and I'll do
2
that
weeks.
part of it similar to what I did 2 weeks. Also, if you need to call us, because we neglect to do that a lot,
We do.
if you want to call Foy's, 724-843-6889. Our website, our email address, Foy's Pet Supplies, isn't it?
Our website?
Yeah. No, our email address. It's right there. I think it's foyspetsupplies.com. But anyways, go on. All I have to do is go on the website, type in Foy's Pigeon Supplies, and all that information is there. Thanks so much.
So we'll see you April 19th. Have a great weekend. Have a great couple weeks. See you soon.